course, we are open for questions now, so if there are any.
Thank you for your presentation, Tobias. I really enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed your book. I was wondering, since you dove deep into effective animal advocacy, you proposed a pragmatic approach as opposed to a more idealistic approach. What was the best counter-argument to your approach that you have, that you've heard, that you've seen, that you have really struggled to think about?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, so in my book I explain a strategy that is pragmatic, but I want to make clear that I think that what strategy is effective and what approach is effective, like the pragmatic, go reduce your animal consumption for any reason versus like go vegan for the animals right now. I think what is effective between those two is a matter largely of time. And I think the first one, the pragmatic approach, like for any reason is good and any reduction is good, is the approach we should still take now. And I think that as time goes by, a more confrontational approach will get more and more productive. So I'm certainly not like excluding another approach. I just think like I want to postpone most of that a bit till we created, we paved the way for it, maybe by offering a lot of alternatives by which it becomes easier for people to accept the animal arguments, and also by creating more awareness. So in terms of counter-arguments, my argument hinges a lot on the value of alternatives. So if we create alternatives and people experience that they have nothing to lose, it will become easier and easier to adopt the animal arguments. Their defensiveness goes down, right? So one counter-argument could be that I think we still have to see how much consuming those alternatives is helping. Right now we're still in a phase where plant-based consumption is going up, but we are not seeing yet, and this is quite strange, we're not seeing yet a correlating decrease of animal consumption. You would think that like if plant-based goes up, you would think that animal-based goes down. But this is not happening. It's as if people are just eating more. I think that we still have to wait a bit for the results for a couple of years to see what is happening actually, because with COVID, with Ukraine, with inflation, it's a very complex period. But hopefully we'll know more in a couple of years. Yeah.
Before we go on to the next question, he said it, but I want to repeat it again. Tobias brought some books. They're translated into German, so also for the German speakers, we have the books here. It's for a free donation, but we recommend 20 euros, so for all of you who are interested in buying the book, it's here after the presentation, after the questions, of course, you can purchase your book. Questions?
Thank you for your speech. I have more of a personal question to you. So because you also said, okay, you left out leather and all that, you had a long list of things that you didn't eat or something. Yeah, something. Okay. And I recently had the experience of meeting someone. I was wearing leather shoes that were second-hand, exactly the example you were giving. And then the person said to me, well, but you know, you're not a vegan. You're just plant-based. And I was a bit surprised because I would always think of myself as a vegan, and now I just want to know where you personally stand on that, like how you would, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that we're all a bit scared of other people's reactions who like are going to accuse us of not being entirely consistent. And that's why many vegans are going to be like so consistent in order to like not get those reactions from other people. Now I think two things: that first of all, they're always going to find something if they want, because this is not a rational thing. Yeah, they will say like, oh, but you're flying, or oh, you do this, or oh, you, I don't know what you do, you know, like there will always be something. And the second thing I think is that like they do this maybe in part because, yeah, we have built this idea that veganism is an entirely consistent thing. And so that's why they want to say, like, oh, but here and here, and they try to poke holes in it. But I'm wondering, would it not be, would veganism, being vegan or being plant-based or whatever, not be a more accessible concept if it shows some kind of flexibility? If other people would think like, oh yeah, this is not like an entirely 100% black and white thing, I think that we would already have made a lot more progress. Yeah, reaching more people and made it more accessible to people if we were more like that. I mean, I cannot be like that. It's like, the system is in us and we want to be pure, we want to be 100%, but I'm assuming that 98% vegans might like have more impact than 100% people. There's never been done any research for that, but I do think that we can do some job, at least in not making it too difficult. And when people accuse us of that, you say like, well, it's not about like doing all or nothing. It's just about doing my best, you know. And I don't care if you call me plant-based or vegan or whatever. I'm trying to do the best I can, and it's not like because I can't do everything that I should do nothing. And in my experience, most people do understand that argument. They're rational enough. It's just about like try not to fight them. Try not to like, oh, but I am, and they will just keep in that mindset. But I think it's also important to realize that when people do that, it often comes from a sense of the idea that you're actually right. So we have, in psychology, we have this dynamic or phenomenon of what's called do-gooder derogation. So do-gooder is somebody who does good, and derogation is the idea of putting them down. So other people are going to put down, or going to tear down the do-gooder. What is that?
In German there is something similar. If you want to insult somebody, you say to somebody, Gutmensch.
Yeah, Gutmensch, yes. So it's the derogation of the Gutmensch. So what happens is that like people feel that actually you are doing something that they should do. And one way of defending themselves against that is to ridicule you and to find holes in your argument and to see where it doesn't entirely fit, and that gives me an excuse to do nothing. And the problem with that is that, well, it puts people, it turns people away further from doing something good.
The interesting thing was that he was, the interesting thing about that situation was that he's a vegan activist. And so
okay.
he is,
yeah,
so
okay.
like that was even weird because for me, you know, I didn't buy news, whatever, but even from someone inside of the community to be put off like that, you know, it's...
Yeah, I didn't get it. I mean, you can be attacked from both sides. Yeah, it's true, and it's another story, and that's the kind of people I wrote my book for, to like show like, okay, we can be more pragmatic, we have to have a wider tent, and it's no use to like go out and trying to catch people doing something non-vegan, you know, like that's just like making our group even smaller. We need a big tent, we need a big group, we don't want a vegan club, we want a vegan world, so that is really, yeah, not a very useful way to approach things, I think. That's people who could use this talk, maybe.
I have a personal question as well, because you sound like a very zen guy, very easy, tranquil guy, and how do you achieve that? I mean, were you always like that? Was a development in your state of mind that you achieved that of, okay, I have to have empathy even with the bullfighters, and how do you do that?
I'm not like that. But I mean, there's things that like really can get under my skin, but very often that kind of behavior from other people, I try to see it as with compassion. I try to see it as people who are not there. And what made it easier for me was that I took a long time myself. So that's the benefit of like being slow yourself. I mean, the people of you who went vegan overnight very easily, they probably don't have that kind of like understanding of how difficult it can be for somebody. So the people who need a longer time, they might understand that it's not so easy for everybody. But basically, the thing I always say is try to see things from the other person's perspective. Try to see how you are not like them, how they are not like you, how they may have had another education, they have different genes, they have there's all kinds of differences. And try to see or try to say that you could, in other circumstances, if the stars were different, or if your genes were different, you could have been like them. You could have been in a situation where at the same point you did still not understand, right? So I think that's a way to try to approach it. It's not always easy, but like I said here, it's also a matter of effectiveness. I think if you approach it like that, it's more effective, it's better for yourself and for the impact you want to achieve.
Or I could visit a Buddhist camp.
Yeah, you can try that.
Questions?
Yeah, my question would be, would you say that there's a way to be too pragmatic or too soft as a vegan? Because for me, I feel sometimes I'm maybe too easy on people, or I'm like, they try to be defensive. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're okay, you're still a good person, don't worry. So I feel, also this is my actual way of being, so I don't want to go into this other side, but I have also a friend who's very extreme, who's exactly one of those vegans who's like saying, yeah, then you're just plant-based, you're not vegan, because veganism is an idealism, it's a choice, it's a lifestyle, you know. And he I think converted a lot of people to become vegan, which, while I could say I couldn't even measure my reach of like who did I influence, or like I don't even know. And then sometimes I ask myself, maybe I'm too soft.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a question like, do you think there's a way to be too pragmatic?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's true. There's certainly people. So on the one hand, to some vegans, I want to say, calm down, please, and to other people, I want to say, like, get your ass up and do something, because you're too soft or too tolerant, maybe. And so this could be in all kinds of things. Like some people might say, like, oh, I'm gonna eat this even though and I'm not gonna call beforehand because then I'm gonna be a bother, or I'm not gonna speak up about anything, etc. And that certainly is possible. I think that the difficult thing or the art is to see what is applicable to a certain situation and also to a certain person, like in this case you. Like you might not want to be like in the street with a sign or whatever, or gluing yourself to a painting, or I don't know what you want to do, but there are always ways to find, to have an impact and to do something. I mean, maybe you could write or you could blog or something, and there might be very non-confrontational ways. Like if we talk to people in their face, there's always some kind of confrontation, you know, because they're there. But we can also like write stuff and they can read it whenever they want, or you can give people some stuff or a book or whatever. So that's one thing, it's non-confrontational. Another thing that's non-confrontational also, but still possibly impactful, is to work with food. So people often ask me, like, what's the best argument to convince somebody? And I always say, like, do we need arguments? And maybe check first if you need an argument. Maybe we can work with food. Maybe we can like take them for dinner, cook for them, cook together with them, take them shopping, whatever. Only if you're a good cook, you should cook for them. But those can be very helpful because they would change their mind and they would make them more receptive to listening to animal arguments. But yes, so to answer your question, definitely it is possible to not do much while you could do more. I think it's a matter of finding a balance. And it will also, like I said, it will change over time. But I feel myself getting a little bit more impatient because there's more and more options. So if people don't do anything today, still, if they don't move, then I'm more frustrated now than 20 years ago when you could only eat cardboard burgers or whatever, you know? So there's good options now, so you're expecting more. Yeah.
Hi.